The sun burned like a fireball in the sky, stretching endlessly over the golden sands of the desert. The wind was dry and hot, carrying tiny grains of sand that scratched at Elia's Trent's skin as he walked. He adjusted his hat, wiped sweat from his brow, and looked around. The desert had always been lonely, but today it felt even more empty. Miles of shifting sand stretched in every direction, broken only by distant rocky hills that seemed to shimmer under the heat. Elias had come here for no other reason than curiosity. He was a retired space explorer, someone who had seen the stars but now found himself drawn to the mysteries of his own planet. The desert called to him in a way he couldn't explain. He had heard rumors of strange artifacts buried beneath the sands, whispers from villagers in nearby towns about old ruins and things that did not belong to this world. Most of it seemed like stories told to scare children, yet something deep inside him stirred. A pull, a memory he could not place, was guiding his steps. Hours passed, and the sun climbed higher, making the heat almost unbearable. Elias' water supply was running low, but still he pressed on. Then far off in the distance he saw it, a dark glint against the bright gold of the sand. At first he thought it was just a piece of metal left behind by travelers long gone. But as he approached, the shape grew larger, taller, and more unnatural. His heart began to race. The sand had covered something enormous, something clearly not made by human hands. He wiped the sweat from his forehead again and squinted. There, half buried in the dunes, lay a ship unlike any he had ever seen. Its surface was smooth and metallic, reflecting the sun in dull sparks. Strange symbols ran along its hull, glowing faintly like they were alive. Elias took a cautious step closer. The ship was massive, at least 3 times the size of any modern aircraft he had seen. Its shape was unfamiliar, with curved wings and a body that seemed to flow like water, yet made of solid metal. Elias' hands shook slightly as he ran his fingers over the hull. The surface was warm, almost pulsing under his touch. His mind raced with questions. How could something so advanced be buried here in the middle of the desert? And why did it feel familiar? The memory was not clear, but a strange sense of recognition filled him. He stepped back and studied the ship from a distance. There were no signs of damage, no markings of decay. It was as if it had been waiting for him. "Hello," he called, his voice sounding small against the vast desert. "Is anyone there?" There was no answer. The wind whistled, carrying the sound of sand over the dunes. Elias frowned. Something about this place felt alive. He felt it in his bones, a hum beneath the sand that seemed to vibrate through his feet. His curiosity pushed him forward. He circled the ship, looking for an entrance, anything that could explain what it was. Finally, he found a hatch, almost invisible against the reflective metal. Symbols glowed faintly around its edges, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat. Elias hesitated. The rational part of him screamed to leave, to run back to safety. But something stronger, something he could not name, drew him closer. His hand hovered over the hatch and the glowing symbols brightened, as if responding to his presence. Then the hatch opened on its own. A soft hiss of air escaped, carrying a coolness that contrasted sharply with the desert heat. Elias stepped back, eyes wide. A ramp extended from the ship, touching the sand. He took a deep breath, tightened his grip on his satchel, and stepped inside. The interior was unlike anything he had ever imagined. Light shimmered from panels along the walls, illuminating a wide corridor that curved gently. The air smelled faintly metallic but fresh, almost like a new place untouched by time. Strange instruments lined the walls, glowing softly with colors he could not name. As he walked, he noticed shapes moving in the corner of his vision, holographic projections flickering to life, as if the ship itself recognized him. Elias stopped in the middle of the corridor. The air was filled with a soft, mechanical hum growing louder as he moved deeper. Then the voice came. "Welcome back, Admiral." Elias froze. His heart skipped a beat. He looked around, but there was no one. The voice was calm, almost soothing, but carried authority and certainty. He swallowed hard. Who is speaking?" he asked. "I am the ship's AI," the voice replied. "You were expected." Elias shook his head. This had to be a trick, some strange hallucination caused by heat or exhaustion. "Expected? I don't understand. I've never been here before." The voice did not waver. "You were here long ago. You commanded a fleet that traveled across the stars. You were humanity's first admiral. Your memory was preserved for this day." Elias stumbled back, nearly falling. His mind raced. This was impossible. Humanity had only just begun exploring nearby planets. He had never commanded any fleet. And yet, the voice sounded certain. A flicker of memories rose in his mind, flashes of stars, strange ships, alien worlds. They vanished as quickly as they appeared, leaving only a hollow feeling behind. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. This is impossible. I'm just a retired explorer. I've never left the solar system, much less commanded anything." The voice's tone was patient. "Time is different here, Admiral. What you know as your past is incomplete. The fleet and your legacy were hidden until the moment you returned. Humanity's reach was greater than you remember, and now a threat is returning. Your guidance is needed again." Elias felt a shiver run down his spine. The calm certainty in the voice unsettled him more than fear ever could. He looked around the ship's interior, noting the strange consoles and glowing panels. They seemed to respond to him automatically, flickering brighter when he approached. His hand hovered over one of the controls, and suddenly, a holographic star map appeared before him. Stars, planets, and unknown territories filled the space, labeled in symbols he somehow understood. Where am I?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "You are on the vessel known as Eternity. Your command awaits," the voice replied. The name rang something deep in his mind. He could not remember why, but it felt familiar, like a song he had heard in another life. He moved closer to the console, touching it carefully. Data scrolled across the holographic panels, revealing fleets, star systems, and missions he did not recall planning. His hand trembled as he tried to process it all. The AI continued. "The fleet you once commanded was placed in stasis to survive a galactic threat. That threat is awakening. You must decide if humanity's legacy will rise again or remain hidden." Elias stepped back. The weight of the words pressed on him. Could he really believe any of this? Yet the evidence was undeniable. The ship had responded to his presence. The holograms flickered to life only when he approached. The voice knew him by name. Deep down, he felt an old sense of duty stirring, a feeling that had been buried under years of retirement and ordinary life. He walked through the ship slowly, exploring the corridors and rooms. Crew quarters flickered to life as he passed, showing holograms of people he did not recognize, but who treated him with respect and familiarity. Weapons and training areas, navigation centers, and engineering bays, all activated with his presence. The ship was alive in a way that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. Finally, he arrived at the bridge. It was enormous, with a panoramic view of the desert through a massive viewport. The control panels lit up as he approached the central seat. The voice spoke again. "Sit, Admiral. See the stars as they once were and as they may be again." Elias hesitated for a moment, then sat in the chair. The panels around him responded instantly, showing charts, signals, and distant galaxies. He could feel the ship aligning itself to his will, ready to follow him wherever he commanded. For the first time, he allowed himself to feel the impossible, that perhaps, just perhaps, he was more than the man he remembered being. That the desert had not simply hidden a ship, it had hidden him. And now, the adventure that had once defined him was calling again. Elias sat in the central chair of the bridge, feeling the ship hum beneath him. The desert sun reflected faintly off the viewport, but inside the Eternity, it was calm, cool, and alive. The panels and controls responded to his presence as if they recognized him. Star charts expanded before his eyes, showing regions of space he did not remember exploring but somehow understood. "Admiral," the voice said, calm and precise, "the fleet is dormant. It awaits your command. Shall we begin awakening it?" Elias swallowed hard. His mind raced with disbelief. "A fleet?" he asked. "You mean humans built all this before me? Humanity reached the stars long before your current history. You were its admiral. This fleet was hidden in stasis to survive a galactic threat. That threat is returning." He looked at the holographic displays, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. Rows of starships appeared, suspended in stasis fields, each one larger than any vessel built in modern times. Some had designs that resembled the Eternity, sleek and elegant. Others were massive carriers, bristling with technology. The fleet stretched across multiple star systems, invisible to anyone outside. Elias' hands shook as he realized the truth. These ships were real, and he was the key to bringing them back. Memories flickered in his mind, brief flashes of battles in deep space, of alien worlds under siege, of crews relying on his command. He tried to push them away, but they clung to him, growing stronger with every moment. The voice continued. "The process is simple. You will activate the fleet's central command. Once you do, the ships will awaken and the crews will follow your orders. But be warned, their enemy is also rising. Time is limited." Elias stood, moving to a large control panel at the center of the bridge. Symbols glowed as he touched them, responding to his gestures. The holographic star map shifted, centering on a distant system. He could see tiny flickers of light, ships coming online one by one as the AI confirmed their status. He took a deep breath. "All right," he said, voice trembling. "Let's wake them up." The AI's response was immediate, acknowledged, initiating fleet activation. A low hum filled the bridge, vibrating through the floor and into Elias' chest. Across the galaxy, stasis pods began to stir. Holographic crew members appeared in their respective ships, stretching and looking around as if waking from a long dream. The fleet's engines glowed, slowly at first, then stronger, filling space with light. Signals transmitted from ship to ship, and soon every vessel was aligned, awaiting its admiral's command. Elias watched in awe. The ships were beautiful, humanity's ingenuity preserved for centuries, now ready to rise again. The crew holograms addressed him with respect and familiarity. "Admiral Trent, welcome back," they said. "We are ready." He felt a strange mix of pride and fear. These people had waited for him, but he had to lead them into a danger he could not fully remember. The AI guided him through the controls, showing him enemy movements detected across the galaxy. A species known as the Vorath, advanced and ruthless, had begun expanding into human territories. They were powerful, far beyond the current capacity of modern space forces. But with the fleet, humanity had a chance. "Admiral, the Vorath fleet is entering the outer colonies," the AI said. "They are scouting, their numbers are growing." Elias' mind raced. He had to plan, to act quickly. He began issuing commands, first simple ones. A squadron of scout ships left the motherships to assess the enemy's strength. The holograms confirmed his orders instantly, executing them with precision and skill. Every move felt familiar, like muscle memory from a life he could barely recall. As the scout ships returned with data, Elias studied it carefully. The Vorath were organized, fast, and aggressive, but the fleet's technology, combined with human creativity, gave them an edge. He could see weaknesses, patterns in the enemy formation that a human mind could exploit. "Admiral, we can engage them strategically," the AI said. "Your tactical experience is required. Shall we proceed?" Elias nodded, feeling a spark of determination. "Yes." Prepare for engagement. For the first time in years, he felt alive in a way he hadn't in his quiet, retired life. He directed the fleet into formation, each ship moving in perfect harmony. The starlight reflected off their hulls as they emerged from their hiding places, a sudden shining human armada confronting the darkness of space. The first skirmish was unlike anything Elias had faced. Vorath ships appeared on sensors, sleek and deadly, firing energy weapons that sliced through space. But the human fleet moved with coordination, using tactics that combined instinct with innovation. Ships dodged and countered, striking with precision. Elias felt his old self return, the confidence and clarity of a leader who had once commanded thousands. Hours passed in what felt like minutes. The battle raged across multiple star systems, yet Elias guided every move. Human ingenuity shone through. The ships used unconventional strategies, outsmarting enemies far stronger than them. One squadron feigned retreat, drawing the Vorath into an ambush. Another used gravity fields to slow enemy movements. Each maneuver reminded Elias why humanity had survived and thrived despite impossible odds. Finally, after what seemed like a long night, the Vorath retreated, their fleet scattered and broken. The human fleet, though worn, remained intact. Elias looked around the bridge of the eternity, his heart pounding. The AI spoke quietly, almost proudly. "You have led them well, Admiral. Humanity's legacy is alive once more." Elias sat back, exhausted but exhilarated. He realized that this fleet was more than ships and technology, it was hope. Hope that humanity could rise again, that they could face threats no one else could handle. He also understood the burden he carried. The galaxy was vast and dangers were not gone. But now he had a fleet, loyal crews, and the knowledge that humans could stand against anything. In the quiet moments after the battle, Elias walked through the eternity, observing the holographic crew members. They worked seamlessly, maintaining ships, monitoring signals, and preparing for whatever would come next. He noticed that the ship's AI sometimes paused, as if acknowledging that this time he was truly in command. "Admiral," the voice said, breaking the silence, "there is more to learn. You have awakened the fleet, but the Vorath are only the beginning. Their advance will continue. Humanity's allies are scattered across the stars, many unaware of the threat. We must reconnect them." Elias nodded slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. "Then we will find them," he said. "We will bring them together. We will protect humanity." The AI's hum filled the corridors as the ship prepared for the next phase. Plans were drawn, charts plotted, and coordinates sent to distant systems. Ships moved with purpose, engines glowing against the void. Elias stood at the bridge, staring at the stars that now seemed so close, so reachable. For the first time, he allowed himself to remember flashes of his past life. Battles fought, worlds saved, alliances formed. They were not just memories, they were a promise. A promise that humanity could endure, that humans could rise from obscurity and face the universe's dangers head-on. The desert, the ship, and the voice had all led him here. And now, Elias Trent, Admiral of humanity's lost fleet, was ready. The stars awaited, and so did the battles that would test human courage, intelligence, and spirit. As the eternity aligned with the fleet, a sense of purpose filled Elias. He could feel the energy of the ships, the readiness of the crews, and the intelligence of the AI working in harmony. Humanity was no longer hidden. They were awake, strong, and ready to reclaim their place among the stars. The voice spoke one last time for the moment, calm and steady. "Admiral, the journey begins anew. Lead them well. Humanity depends on you." Elias took a deep breath, gripping the armrests of his chair. He was no longer just a retired explorer. He was a commander, a leader, and the spark that would ignite humanity's return to the stars. The fleet spread out, engines glowing like a constellation of human resolve. And in the quiet of space, one truth became clear to Elias. Humans may have forgotten their past, but they had never lost their courage. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns, but humanity had awakened. And under Elias' command, They would face the challenges ahead with intelligence, creativity, and heart. The stars were waiting, and so was destiny. Elias Trent stood on the bridge of the eternity, his eyes scanning the endless stars. The fleet stretched behind him, engines glowing like constellations scattered across the void. Each ship was a reminder of humanity's forgotten greatness, awakened once more under his command. The first battle against the Vorath had been a success, but he knew it was only the beginning. A larger threat loomed, and this time, humanity could not afford hesitation. The AI's calm voice filled the bridge. Admiral, we have identified clusters of human colonies that remain unaware of the Vorath threat. Many are vulnerable, and their technology is insufficient to resist the enemy. Elias nodded, determination hardening his features. Then we will reach them. We will unite humanity's strength and ensure that no colony is left behind. The fleet moved as one, faster than any human force in recorded history. Scout ships zipped ahead, confirming the safety of jump points while larger ships followed, prepared for any ambush. Elias directed operations from the eternity, the fleet responding instantly to his commands. For the first time, he felt the full weight of being an admiral, not just of a single ship, but of humanity's renewed power. As they approached the first cluster of colonies, the signs of danger became clear. Vorath patrols had already begun probing these worlds, scanning for weaknesses. Many of the colonies were isolated, unaware of the ancient threat returning to their space. Elias studied the star charts projected in front of him. There were hundreds of systems, each one home to thousands, sometimes millions, of humans who depended on his decisions. Admiral, the AI said, we can coordinate defense simultaneously across multiple systems. Your orders will determine the success of each operation. Elias closed his eyes for a moment, drawing on the memory of past campaigns he barely remembered. Then we defend them all, he said. Divide the fleet strategically. Scouts protect the jump points. Carriers support planetary defenses. We cannot lose a single colony if we can help it. The fleet shifted instantly into formation. Squadrons of ships separated, each directed to different sectors. Smaller vessels moved with speed, protecting colonies from initial attacks, while the larger battleships stayed in orbit, ready to respond to heavier threats. The coordination was flawless, a combination of human intuition, AI precision, and Elias' leadership. The first Vorath attack came suddenly. A fleet of sleek enemy ships appeared near one of the outer colonies, energy weapons glowing like streaks of light. But the human fleet was ready. Elias watched as the smaller ships engaged the Vorath, dodging attacks, using innovative maneuvers to outflank the enemy. The larger battleships fired coordinated volleys that disrupted the enemy's formation, giving the colonies time to activate planetary defenses. Elias felt a surge of pride. Humanity had fought hard before, but now, with knowledge, technology, and courage combined, they were unstoppable. The Vorath, despite their strength, were surprised by the humans' ingenuity. Each engagement revealed weaknesses the enemy had never anticipated. Hours passed as battles flared across multiple systems. Yet humanity's fleet adapted faster than the Vorath could anticipate. Squadrons executed complex maneuvers, using gravity wells, asteroid fields, and energy shields to gain an advantage. Every move, every decision, reminded Elias why humans were not just survivors. They were explorers, inventors, and warriors of the stars. After the initial wave, the colonies were safe and the fleet regrouped. Elias studied the reports coming in. Casualties were minimal, and the colonies were prepared to join the larger human alliance. The message is spreading, he said, voice steady. Humanity is awakening across the galaxy. They are ready to fight alongside us. The AI responded, Admiral, the Vorath are mobilizing a larger fleet. Their command structure is centralized. If we strike at their core, we can turn the tide decisively. Elias considered this carefully. Attacking the Vorath home fleet was risky, but hesitation could allow them to expand unchecked. "Prepare a strike force," he said. "We will challenge them directly. This is humanity's moment. We fight not just to survive, but to reclaim our place among the stars." The fleet shifted into a faster formation. Scouts led the way, detecting Vorath movements and providing real-time updates. The AI coordinated the jump points, ensuring no ship was lost in hyperspace. Elias stood at the bridge, guiding the fleet with precision, every decision a mixture of strategy and intuition. As they approached the Vorath core, the true scale of the enemy became clear. Hundreds of enemy ships, advanced in technology and heavily armed, waited to confront them. The sight was intimidating, but Elias did not falter. The human fleet moved in perfect synchronization, each ship trusting his leadership. The battle began with blinding light. Energy weapons lit up space, casting reflections across the hulls of human ships. Explosions rocked the void as the Vorath struck with precision. But the humans were ready. Squadrons maneuvered with creativity, using decoys, holograms, and gravity fields to confuse the enemy. Carriers launched coordinated attacks from multiple angles, striking vulnerabilities in the Vorath defenses. Elias directed the engagement with calm authority. "Flank left," he commanded. "Focus fire on their central command ships. Protect the carriers. Do not give them an opening." The fleet responded instantly, moving as one organism. Every ship, every crew member performed with flawless execution. The Vorath, despite their advanced technology, could not match the humans' adaptability. Elias felt a surge of awe at the coordination. This was not just strategy, it was human creativity and determination in action. Hours turned into what felt like moments. The Vorath began to retreat, their fleet fragmented and damaged. Human ships pursued, but Elias ordered restraint. The goal was not annihilation, but reclaiming territory and sending a message. Humanity was no longer hidden. They were awake, united, and ready to defend the galaxy. After the battle, the human fleet regrouped around the Eternity. Reports came in from every system. Colonies were safe, fleets were operational, and humans across the stars were inspired by the actions of Elias and the ancient fleet. The Vorath would return, but now they knew that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Elias walked through the corridors of the Eternity, observing the holographic crew. They moved efficiently, preparing for the next phase of operations. The AI guided him, offering advice and strategies, but the decisions were his. For the first time, he felt the true weight of leadership. He was not just commanding ships, he was leading the rebirth of human civilization in the stars. "Admiral," the AI said softly, "your leadership has united humanity. You have awakened a legacy that was thought lost. The galaxy now knows that humans are a power to be reckoned with." Elias paused, looking out at the stars. The battles had been won, but the war was ongoing. Still, he felt hope, true hope. Humanity had survived before against impossible odds. Now, armed with knowledge, courage, and unity, they could rise higher than ever. He remembered the voice from the desert, the words that had started this journey. "Welcome back, Admiral." Those words had led him to the Eternity, to the fleet, and now to the stars once more. And they were true. He had returned not just to a ship, but to his destiny. The AI projected a holographic image of the galaxy, highlighting human colonies, allied systems, and potential threats. "We have much to do, Admiral. Humanity must reconnect, rebuild, and prepare for future challenges." Elias nodded, determination shining in his eyes. "Then we will do it. We will protect every colony, unite every fleet, and ensure that humanity stands strong among the stars. We will face any threat, and we will win." Over the next weeks, Elias led the fleet in establishing communication networks, strengthening colonies, and training new crews. Humans across the galaxy began to recognize their shared history. their connection to the lost fleet, and the legacy that Elias represented. Colonies previously isolated were now linked by advanced technology, guided by the strategies of a man who had once commanded humanity's first interstellar fleet. The Vorath remained a threat, but their fear of humans had grown. They had underestimated the creativity, resilience, and determination of humanity. Elias knew future battles would be harder, but he also knew that humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, fighters, and explorers at heart. One evening, as the Eternity floated near a distant star, Elias stood on the bridge, watching the glow of the fleet. The AI spoke gently, almost like a companion. "Admiral, the galaxy is vast, but humanity's light now shines brighter than ever. You have led them well." Elias smiled, a mix of pride and humility. "We have all led together," he said. "This is just the beginning. Humanity will face the stars, not with fear, but with courage, intelligence, and heart." And so, under Elias Trent's command, humanity's lost fleet became a beacon across the galaxy. Colonies thrived, alliances formed, and enemies learned to respect the humans who had returned from obscurity. The stars were no longer distant dreams. They were home. The desert had revealed a secret, a ship, and a man who had forgotten his own greatness. Now, humanity's return was complete. Elias looked out at the infinite expanse, the stars shining brighter than ever, and felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had been called back, and he had answered. The fleet stretched across the galaxy, engines glowing, ready for any challenge. Humans would explore, defend, and thrive, proving once again that no matter the odds, their spirit was unbreakable. And in that vast darkness of space, one truth shone clear. Humanity had awakened, and nothing could stop them now. The stars waited, full of challenges and possibilities, and humanity, under the leadership of their admiral, would rise to meet them all.